He is alone and free, yet powerless and afraid. The newly won freedom appears as a curse. He is free from the sweet bondage of paradise, but he is not free to govern himself, to realize his individuality. Welcome back to part 2 of our discussion on Erich Fromm's monumental work, Escape from Freedom. In the previous video, we discussed why people past and present seek to flee from freedom, and the different methods used to do so. Today, we will take a look at the final sections of the book. In the chapter titled Psychology of Nazism, we will see how everything discussed in part 1 set the stage for the rise of Nazism. In the final chapter, we will revisit the concept of negative freedom and positive freedom, and how we can solve the problem of the former by embracing the latter. Psychology of Nazism. In the scientific, and still more so in the popular discussion of Nazism, two opposite views are frequently presented. The first, that psychology offers no explanation of an economic and political phenomenon like fascism. The second, that fascism is wholly a psychological problem. Following this quote, Erich Fromm clearly states that he disagrees with both of these viewpoints, as they are too simple in their analysis of how Nazism and Hitler came to power. Erich Fromm strongly argues that socioeconomic, political, and psychological factors all need to be taken into account if we are to understand the rise of Nazism. He was well aware of socioeconomic components in Germany that everyone was talking about, such as the economic downfall of the middle class coupled with inflation, as well as the defeat in World War I that led to the fall of the monarchy. Erich Fromm was certainly aware of all these and agreed that they played a part in fueling the Nazi ideology. However, he did not find this to be adequate enough. This is why he examined the economic and political history of Western Europe and the mindset they fostered among the population over centuries. This is what led him to study the Western European population's relationship to individual freedom. As we saw in part 1, the negative aspect of individual freedom led to unbearable amounts of anxiety and loneliness for a lot of people, which then promoted the three mechanisms of escape that Erich Fromm identified. Authoritarianism and automaton conformity are the most commonly seen methods of escape, and 20th century Germany was no exception. Erich Fromm argued that if the majority of the population is ready to conform to what seems to be acceptable to the society they are part of, then it only takes just a small portion of the population to be strong admirers of any given ideology, for that ideology to take over a nation or culture. In considering the psychological basis for the success of Nazism, this differentiation has to be made at the outset. One part of the population bowed to the Nazi regime without any strong resistance, but also without becoming admirers of the Nazi ideology and political practice. Another part was deeply attracted to the new ideology and fanatically attached to those who proclaimed it. So while some like to oversimplify the German population in the late 1930s and early 1940s by labeling them all as Nazis, Erich Fromm realized that, at least initially, only a small population strongly supported the Nazi agenda. According to Fromm's research before writing this book, only about 10% of the population was in strong favor of Nazism. 15% of the population were strongly opposed to it, and the remaining 75% lied somewhere in the middle. Put it another way, 10% of the population had what he described as authoritarian tendencies, 15% were democratic-minded, and 75% in the middle, perhaps flexible enough to conform to whichever direction society led them. This information right here is quite revealing, because it really shows that a society only needs the backing of a small fraction of the population in order for any ideology to go mainstream. It seems that nothing is more difficult for the average man to bear than the feeling of not being identified with a larger group. So this is precisely why Erich Fromm launched into an investigation of individual freedom, to understand the ascent of Nazism. And there is a lot of merit in studying his work today, as there is no guarantee that the same will not happen today. There is absolutely nothing guaranteeing that a nation today will not succumb to a harmful ideology like Nazism. As Erich Fromm showed us, it only takes a small group to take over an entire nation with a dangerous ideology. This all brings us back to the topic of people's relationship with freedom. Just as Erich Fromm was aware of how people's relation to freedom changed over time, we should also be mindful of our society's relation to freedom as well. Because even today, 80 years after the book was written, many of us still do not know what to do with our freedom. As a society, a lot of us are still riddled with anxiety and loneliness. All of this leads us to ask the following questions. Are independence and freedom identical with isolation and fear? Or is there a state of positive freedom in which the individual exists as an independent self, and yet is not isolated but united with the world, with other men, and nature? How do we have a positive relationship with freedom? Let's see what Erich Fromm has to say. Submission is not the only way of avoiding aloneness and anxiety. The other way, the only one which is productive and does not end in an insoluble conflict, is that of spontaneous relationship to man and nature. A relationship that connects the individual with the world without eliminating his individuality. There is only one possible, productive solution for the relationship of individualized man with the world: his active solidarity with all men and his spontaneous activity, love and work, which unite him again with the world, not by primary ties, but as a free and independent individual. According to Erich Fromm, spontaneous activity is the antidote to anxiety and loneliness resulting from negative freedom, and the best way to move towards positive freedom. Here is what Fromm has to say about spontaneous activity. Spontaneous activity is not compulsive activity, to which the individual is driven by his isolation and powerlessness. It is not the activity of the automaton, which is the uncritical adoption of patterns suggested from the outside. Spontaneous activity is free activity of the self and implies, psychologically, what the Latin root of the word sponte means literally, of one's free will. By activity, we do not mean doing something, but the quality of creative activity that can operate in one's emotional, intellectual, and sensuous experiences, and in one's will as well. At multiple points throughout the book, Erich Fromm brings up love and work as primary examples of spontaneous activity, and he also mentions artists and children as inspirations of spontaneity. He thinks we can learn a lot from children, since they possess the ability to feel and think of something that is truly theirs, free of outside influence. Besides love, work, artists, and children, Erich Fromm does not bring up any other examples of what he calls spontaneous activity. Perhaps he wanted all the readers to exercise their genuine thinking, rather than pseudo-thinking, to come up with our very own concept of what spontaneous activity is to us. So what does spontaneity look like for each of us? The answer will vary depending on the individual, but it's definitely something to think about if we are to be truly free. To wrap up this video, I would like to share Erich Fromm's words on love and work. Spontaneous activity is the one way in which man can overcome the terror of aloneness without sacrificing the integrity of his self. For in the spontaneous realization of the self, man unites himself anew with the world, with man, nature, in himself. Love is the foremost component of such spontaneity. Not love as the dissolution of the self in another person, not love as the possession of another person, but love as spontaneous affirmation of others, as the union of the individual with others on the basis of the preservation of the individual self. The dynamic quality of love lies in this very polarity, that it springs from the need of overcoming separateness, that it leads to oneness, and yet that individuality is not eliminated. Work is the other component. Not work as a compulsive activity in order to escape aloneness. Not work as a relationship to nature, which is partly one of dominating her, partly one of worship of, and enslavement by the very products of man's hands, but work as creation in which man becomes one with nature in the act of creation. What holds true of love and work holds true of all spontaneous action, whether it be the realization of sensuous pleasure or participation in the political life of the community. It affirms the individuality of the self, and at the same time, it unites the self with man and nature. The basic dichotomy that is inherent in freedom, the birth of individuality, and the pain of aloneness, is dissolved on a higher plane by man's spontaneous action. Thank you for watching.